guys? I'm gonna get started in about 10 minutes. This is a 10-minute warning. Once again, this is a 10-minute warning. I'm gonna get started. Hope you guys are enjoying. They're just lo-fi. The beats you're hearing is the beats that we're gonna be using to make some bass house. I started this like today. I've really just been focusing on parallel compression. So we're gonna see a lot of that today. And I kind of I understood the idea of it, and I didn't really get it until I really just had to tinker with it and put it into play. And I'll show that later. So, anyways, 10 minutes. Keep vibing. I'm gonna do my pre-stream ritual. Alright, yeah, let's get weird with some bubble noises. Anyways, how we doing? Happy Thursday. So, yeah. I wanted to get in the habit of just kind of streaming my projects and kind of my progress. I think that, like, the best part is just constantly learning kind of as you go. I don't, as I mentioned in my last video, but I'll continue to say, I definitely have seen a handful of tutorials on things, but I've been kind of tinkering around with this and, um, learning as I go for the past, I don't know, 6 months, and everything's really coming together really quickly, and you can really hear it in the sound, I think. At least I hope so. I'm no expert. I have no schooling for this. I have ADHD, so I just kind of I have a different way of learning things. So I figured, hey, maybe I'm sure there's someone out there that could maybe learn from me and how my process works. So yeah. Anyways, let's get started. I still haven't got a mic stand, which is a fail, but that's okay. That's all right. Turn this up. Alright, so before I get started, basically what I have is zoom in, hide everything else. Cool. So these two brown here, I'll make them. We can just color coordinate everything together right now. My bases, I like them to be warm, so I always like a red. So I basically have two bases right now, and so all of this stuff, all of these instruments, these are all Serum. So I have two Serum tracks, so two Serum MIDI tracks, and then those I basically just group them together, and it's your bus. What this is right here is a compressor that is going to my kick and snare bus. So it's side chaining to that. So really common in EDM, you sidechain your kick and your bass, so you really get a nice separation there. Otherwise, you won't really hear the kick, or the it really helps to give you that punch you're looking for. And that was something that, so sidechaining was something that back in 2008 Yeah, back in late 2000s. Um, Sidechaining was something that like was a incredible concept, and it was done so well by so many producers. And I feel like that sound has kind of been it's still obviously side compression is still used, but that nice really breathy feeling that Dead Mouse Cascade. I obviously I'm it's there in other genres, but I feel like it could be there and it should be there in all genres. I feel like it's just like it's a layer of EDM that just has to exist. So, anyways, um, side chaining super important, and then recently I just figured out parallel compression. So parallel compression. So that's where like everything looks a little more um, complicated than the last time I did a stream, and that's because I am basically parallel compressing. And so I have this return track right here, and I have a just your standard. First I have my compressor for the kick. So again, the audio that comes out of my return right here is ducked out from the kick. And then I have it EQ'd though. So it's basically going to, the EQ right here is going to glue a little bit in this frequency range. I know there is a way to actually like view this and actually see it. I don't have like the tool to do that. I just did it like through ears, and we're gonna probably end up changing all of this up eventually, anyways. So this is my like track for parallel compressing, and then I have Neutron Elements. So pretty much my like new bread and butter, which I feel like I'm sure in the producing world is like considered like probably cheating now, but like the iZotope um, plugins are incredible, and I just got pretty much the Element Suite off of Plugin Boutique for like it was super cheap. It was like $30, and it came with Neutron, Ozone, Trash, which Trash is really cool, and then it came with a bunch of other stuff from BX and like a bunch of other really good plugins, which we'll go over because I pretty much use all of them right now. So, anyways, I will get started. I will play what I came up with this morning. So I have my two bass tracks right here. Everything in this light blue is going to be your kick and snare. So right there, and then your pink I have as a high percussion track. So I don't have a low percussion track yet, which is my plan. So I get that nice separation, or bus, I guess you would call it. And then I have my kind of lead right now. It's not even a lead. It's just kind of a high. It's a high note. It's just a high frequency to catch everything else that's going on in the bottom. And then this lo-fi track that I just like kind of whipped up. That was pretty cool. I wish I saved it, but I saved it in the stream. So yeah, I just have never really messed around with that. That came with so another really good deal right now is Native Instruments. They're doing I think it's called Complete Now, and you can get like I'll go through it, but this like all these instruments these were all included. So all of my intro today, so everything that was before I got started, pretty much all came from this Lo-Fi Glow. But there's a bunch of other cool stuff on here. It also has a bunch of really good delay plugins, reverb plugins, and it's $10 a month. And it's the sound quality on all this stuff is really solid. So I pretty much my setup is I really like to use Serum for my lows. Oh yeah, with the Native Instruments now, the biggest thing was I got Massive 2 or Massive X, so that's been really helpful. So I use Serum for my lows and my bass. I basically use Serum also for my kick, so I did download a preset, but it's really nice having a kick in Serum because it integrates with all of your other Serum tracks. So they all work together really well. And the same thing with a snare drum. So I have a Serum snare right here too. And then I have currently Kontakt. So that's what we were just playing right here. I have a retro, just really simple synth, just playing 16 notes over the top. So anyways, we're getting started right now. I'm going to play everything, and then if anyone has any input, wants to put in anything, let's go. Like, I want to get people involved. I haven't really been musically involved much in a really long time, and I want to just, like, I don't really have a community. I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of like coming out to the world. So let's do it. I want to collab with anybody that wants to learn. Like, I'm in. Let's go. So yeah. Anyways, enjoy, and let's keep adding on to it. Alright, so one thing I didn't mention, so the kick and the snare, they are, the kick and the snare, they're Serum, so they're Serum presets. You can get them off Splice, so I really don't like using samples. I don't use samples for really anything. I do recommend, though, if you're new to sound design, get some presets and kind of understand and tinker with those and learn what they do. That's where watching, like, I seriously have only seen like 1 or 2 tutorials on Serum, and then that mixed with just kind of playing around with presets is where it all kind of just came from. So a lot of my, like, bass sounds, a lot of my low ends, those are all pretty much made. Like, I like to really start from scratch. So yeah, I highly recommend just really getting in there, just tinkering with it, playing with it. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a big learning curve, but eventually it should just click. And I think of Serum almost like a it almost is like it paints. It is an imager. I don't think of it as just creating like audio or just like a synthesizer. It's actually, I think of it as making images. You know, you have so many options with your LFOs, and it's so easy to just drag and drop. And once you understand like how you want all of your oscillators and everything to talk, and if you keep all of your LFOs and envelopes really tight and you keep them all really organized, you'll get a really good sound. But otherwise, you'll get lost in it. You will end up like getting a really muddy sound as well if you mess around too much with like pitches, detuning, and things like that. So, anyways, so first thing I want to get in here, and so I have my high percussion track right here. So this is just the drum rack from Ableton. So it's just the default. Reminder: I do not even have like actual Ableton like live. I have the Live Lite. You can see right here. So it only limits me to having a total of 8 audio tracks or MIDI tracks, one or the other. But with these drum racks and instrument racks, you can get away with more. But it's easier to have everything separated because you really can pocket your sounds better that way. Anyways, so first thing I wanted to add, I was thinking we obviously need some more highs. So I'm just gonna play the thing through, and we will use our contact player. I'm gonna delete that because I played around with it too much. We'll start with a fresh one, and we will yeah, we'll add something pretty over it. Let's do it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm vibing with that. Let me see. Is there anyone in chat? Oh yeah. Welcome everybody. Yeah, so that little groove right there, I will zoom into that real quick so everyone can see that. I wrote this right before I started the intro to this stream. But dotted eighth notes. Dotted eighth notes are everything. All right. So I will zoom into it. So right now, I'm gonna fix my main group up here to 8 bars. So 8 bars, like the number 8 is everything. Okay, so like obviously 4/4 is super important, but you can like with that number 8, like you can a lot of your fills and stuff can sound if you play around with it, like you'll see I do right now. Um, I have my 8 counts here, but then I cut this one 7 short, loop it, and then just extended. I basically just extended this one out one more count because it's an endless loop. So no matter what with these dotted eights, it's gonna sound killer. So dotted eighth notes are a separation of 3/16 notes. So I'm going to do my grid to 16 notes, right? So I have jut. Hold on. All right. So we have dut 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 dut, and here's where those dotted eights right here come into play. So, like one thing I've learned when listening to melodies is the dut 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 dut. The little rise and the drop, just like life, just like everything, is what's catchy. You know what I mean? So I'm just sitting here on a simple, like, I don't know melody very well, I'll be honest. I was brought up as a percussionist, so I was a drummer. So I just kind of go along with what I can and the tools that I've been using on here, and having the scale laid out for you right here is killer. Like, right? So you can select your clip and you just go down here and you can select to view your scale, and like I'm just doing C major. Another really common one is you can do major pentatonic. So like this is pretty much like the most famous scale in everything right now. But I also been having fun, like the Messiaen scale. It's pretty fun. Like, but anyways, so dotted eighth notes are in pretty much almost any house song you'll ever see, because it's a really floaty sound. And so when you have it in any of your frequencies, like over 1,000, or it really doesn't matter. I mean, obviously bass notes are good with it, but having that tone really just bounce on top of all of your tracks is really what gives a lot of character in your sound. Again, I'm learning all of this like as I'm talking about it, so I'm really hyped on everything that's like happening. So let's have a listen to it. And all right. Yeah, so it's kind of difficult. I have like monitors in here, but I don't know. I need to get my mic situation figured out if I'm gonna stream more. But this works for right now. So pretty much like I wrote before the drop this part, the dut 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 dut. So I wrote that first, and then what you hear at this drop is I just wanted to really simplify it to fit in this 16th note sound that I have. Why? Oh. Yeah. So you hear how that sound is just peeking through, and so it really adds, like when it ends up combining the basically simplified version to, then we add those dotted eights in there. It really combines the two tracks together really well in phrase. pitch buzzing sound. I'm interested to know where that's coming from. I think it's... I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's a high frequency that's ringing off at the end. I'm guessing it's because of the sidechain I have going on right here. I mean, that was kind of that kind of worked out that I looped that over and over again. So let's see, just alright, so if anyone has any questions, I know like my biggest hurdle when I first started was sounds, and so like as an artist it really depends on what you want to do. Serum is what I learned. Everyone else learned something else. Serum is I literally just like, after not really doing much producing in 9 years, I just looked up like, hey, what do I need? And Serum was the first thing. So I took the money that I had. I got Serum, and I think Live Light, I think they were doing a free promotion or something at the beginning of COVID. I think that's actually why I ended up with it. So I had to just learn how to use these, and Serum is an amazing tool. So sound design, I feel like, is where a lot of people get hung up. So basically, like the melodies, I have two different my two sounds. I have this, which is gonna be your, it's kind of like a, just that low, yep, a nice little wind down. So the reason that's happening, cool. So you'll see I have right here, I have the noise portion of my oscillator going, or of Serum going, and I have it as a direct out. The sample that's in here is a kick sample. So basically it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a sampler. So what I have though is, you'll see right here how this is lit up. That's because my envelope 2 is attached to that, and this is my envelope 2. So this is right on the attack. So this is basically controlling the level in which this kick is working. So all that's really happening with this sound is I'm making this kick sound, I'm doing a direct out. So direct out, what that does is it bypasses all of the filters with inside Serum. So that's just basically going to go straight here to this bus right here. So I have a nice thud there. And then the rest is basically just a wind down filter of, I have a bandpass 12 filter right here, and the, let's see, I think it's this one, yeah. So the cutoff, I just have kind of similar to the kick. The cutoff, I just have punching with this envelope right here. So that's what's causing basically the filter, so the sound that you're hearing is getting caught up in there, and you're getting distortion. That's literally all you're hearing. So you have one oscillator, so one sound, another oscillator that's an octave below, but because the formation right here is in a harmonic series, which is a third, it's going to get a little bit of, almost like it's going to sound like a chord, which is where you're going to get that tone too. And it's taking all of that and shoving it right up into that pass and distorting it. And then the level goes out because that sound is just based off of this envelope. So I can make it louder and longer if I wanted to. Like, see, I had a longer kind of wind down. That's pretty cool. So, and now what I could do if I wanted to, so this, what made those changes was my sustain, my release, and my decay. So I can have these actually all change. So I'm going to go over here to my LFO4. I'm going to go to my rate, and I'm going to make it 8 bars. And I'm going to have it just increase. So again, I go back to thinking about pictures, and I just think over 8 bars, something, whatever I attach this to, is going to increase from 0 to 100 at this rate. Okay? So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to put it right here on, we'll say, the hold. So now actually as 8 bars, so the issue is we're looping it, but I'll cut the loop. You'll see. Hold on. Yeah. So I need it to be envelope. So what's happening is right now I'm waiting. I'm looking at what I attached it to, and I'm also looking at the envelope, and it's re-triggering, and that's because I have it set as an envelope. I need to set that off. So now it's just going to keep going. So over 8 bars, my hold now is going to extend. So that sound is now over 8 bars going to constantly like change, because I'm taking this element, and I'll have it change. I'll have it change the decay too. It's 4 bars. Alright, I'm gonna play the whole thing and step out and have a cigarette and see what it all sounds like. Alright, I like that. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry, I also need to figure out like a push to talk situation. But yeah, I actually really like that. That's a lot of fun. Did you hear that? So that growl noise that we were working on. Did you hear how it, over time throughout the bars kind of extended out? So it's those little things. That's why Serum is. That's why Serum is a monster. Serum is. You can add all those elements, and it's you can add as many as you want, and that's just the beginning of it. And I'll get into it. Um, the more I solidify kind of my skill with it, because yeah, trust me, I have so here. I'll go to my menu. I have so many. These are all like. Okay, no. So some of these are standards. Hold on. They're just like the default ones. But I have a lot of. So I have all these folders that I've been working on, and these are all decent sounds. But a lot of playing around, and it's hard because when you start to learn like, and this is why EQ and knowing EQ is really important. You'll you'll learn like when you're creating your sounds that you you really need to create your workflow really needs to be processed, and so when you get to a certain point in each of your projects, you remember and you know where you're at and how you can pick up and go, because a lot of my sounds that I have here, like if I were to just play like throw in right now like the presets, um, my presets, they would not sound good. They would sound god awful, and that's because like I played around with them so much to when I specifically made them. It's a good idea to save your progress as you go. So like right now, like is a good idea. Like this sound, um, what are we gonna call this track? Roar. We'll just call it roar. I mean, like again, it doesn't really matter as long as you know what it is. Um, this one this is the bass lead. And so one thing I didn't mention, which is I touched base on in the last stream. Ugh, sorry. I'll get it. I'll get it. Alright. I'm over it now. Um, one thing I didn't mention is that you can have, so some people do it different ways. So I utilized Serum as I used a preset. It's fantastic. It's just a UK Garage um, kick. It is fantastic. Um, so I use this because your kick, like I was saying earlier, that your Serum talks to it. It all talks together. You know what I mean? So you're setting your sub level right here. So your sub um, with your kick is a really phenomenal tool to have. Otherwise, I would recommend having just a full separate sub bass MIDI. Just a simple, just like this, just sine wave. Um, but this is obviously this is for the kick here. So it does have a little bit to it. You'll see the filter on the right changes. This right here, like I almost here, I'll save where I'm at. I'll call this stream kick because I did adjust this. I did play around with this a little bit before the stream, because again I was playing with parallel compression. So, anyways, this will adjust basically. This is also going to adjust the bass tone. I think if I click right here, it'll say what it tells. Yeah, so it is going to adjust this filter right here. So on impact, this filter's affected this right here. So this is a big one. The first oscillator, so your main tone. So it's going to be a quick punch, like basically. This is why Serum's really easy. I select it. It tells me what this LFO is affecting. It's affecting this. It's affecting my level. Well, that's really important. That's the sound. That's everything, right? So it's saying there's a quick bloop in my level. If that's literally how I had to tell my brain, teach myself how some of this worked. So yeah. Anyways, ADHD, it's fantastic. Watching tutorials and stuff, it's impossible for me. Um, so anyways, with the kick, having this really good sub bass, really important because it keeps a nice floor for you. If you don't utilize this, I would recommend having a full separate track then at a like -3 octave, having it basically your MIDI in just be from your kick, and it just be a nice really low frequency, so all your other notes can bounce off of it. This is a key thing when it comes to mixing. So I'm like really happy with the song. So obviously there's a lot of things we can do. So as much as I want to make it sound really cool and start getting into side compression and getting into all of that, I could do that, but I still want to add a couple more layers. It needs more drive in certain points. I still want to add a whole, like, I wonder if I can even do this. Yeah, cool. I don't know how many tracks I'm at because I have a track limit because I'm using Live Light. Alright, so I'm going to use right here, I just inserted a MIDI track. So I have my high percussion track, so this is going to be my hi-hats, but I'm going to add to it. It's not just going to be hi-hats, I'm going to use shakers, I'm going to use a wood block, I'm going to use, I really like, since I'm limited on my tracks, I obviously use drum racks for all these little things. All my big sounds, I'll keep separate. So we can hear the highs right now. So you'll see them all in action. Going off, let's get a little more detailed view. So another thing you can do is you can chain. So you can chain like a group of samples together off of one note in here if you wanted to. I don't recommend doing that. There's so many. I mean, it really depends on how you're utilizing your drum rack or your instrument rack. But having everything separate and just visible like this is really nice because you can also drag one of your chains out or tracks out, and you can set it as an individual track out of your drum rack. Right, so if you have everything chained together under one pad, you can still do that, but when you start getting into effects and stuff, it can get frustrating. So anyways, the whole reason I started getting on this percussion loop is I want some more low-end percussion. I feel like a lot of the bass house artists today are getting away with, I don't know how to put it, and I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to piss anybody off. But the blend between percussion and like a lead is very lost in a lot of what I'm hearing. Everything I hear is either very this all the time, you know what I mean? So like I like to separate it out with like those little things. But I feel like oh, got it. What was it here? Drums. All right, yeah. I feel like right now the current situation with artists is everyone finds their find your niche and like go for it. And I can see how with where technology is, I can see how it's really easy to kind of stop your progression with where you learn your sound design. Because a lot of artists either get focused on being very just minimal and percussive, or they basically will just throw a freaking square, a square bass, buzz bass, like through some compressors and like basically just draw a line out and then it creates bass house. I mean, it sounds really cool, but again, like I personally, I'm a drummer, so I really I really want to find that perfect blend. And there's some artists that I find do that. Got like Jack Beats and Taiki New Light, dude. Those guys right now they're coming up with some cool stuff. Their new project, Real Mood, um, completely different vibe than what they were doing with their night bass stuff. So, anyways, like that's the kind of progression that I think like all artists should have um, is like just keep growing, because it's really easy to get stuck in the vacuum of samples and loops and things like that. Like the tracks and stuff that I've released so far have not whatsoever been polished. I just throw everything out there. I just throw everything out there just so because I'm literally starting from square one. Um, like as far as my brand, and I'm gonna make a video about what that's all about, but that's not about right now. Right now, I'm talking about concept. I'm talking about music. Um, I really like percussive sounds, and I feel like you should really fill that drum track as much as you can. Fill those fucking ears and really play around with it. You just using this. Like that's cool and all, um, but like, come on, right? So let's do something different here. I was saying wood blocks. Wood blocks are so fun. Alright, I like that. That's got a really nice flat sound to it. That's gonna sound really good. And the reason I'm looking for that flat sound rather than a ping is because I already have that nice resonating ping from my two leads. So as a reminder, right? So I don't need, right? Those are really floating up there. I don't need my percussive sound needs to complement that, and I feel like this adding a nice little wood block right here, it's gonna be our thing. So as far as rhythm goes, let's do something different, since it's a completely different kind of, it's going to be a different frequency than what we're used to, or not what we're used to, but with whatever else is going on. I'm going to try some triplets. So I'll do eighth note triplets. I will make here. Well, so I duplicated, all I did is Control D, just duplicated this track. I'll loop this one. Cool. I'll consolidate it. So you see how right here the play start time is at this 5? That annoys me. So if I consolidate it, it'll crop it and make it 1. Alright, so I'm just going to do triplets straight across the board. Those are not triplets. Eighth note. I mean, so that sound is, man, I really like that. So we'll do it up until there. Yep. See how that gives enough room for this. Here, I'll throw it in here. It almost sounds like, see, it almost sounds like the pitch of that is changing. And that's like, I haven't changed the velocity on that sound. I haven't done anything to that. And it's already got a nice, like, alright, so remember 8, right? So that was 8 counts right there. We'll count it out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, so we're gonna switch it up here for another 8 counts. And we're just gonna half time it. Okay. So I didn't like that. So I'm gonna go with, so because we have the rolling 8th note, dotted 8th notes, I'm gonna just try dotted 8th notes and see how it floats on that. So again, dotted 8th notes, rather than doing triplets, just do your 16th note grid. Okay. So 16 notes, there's 4 16 notes in a count. So it's going to be 1 E and A, 2 E and, so you basically you want to think every 3 16 notes. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, and that's your dotted 8th notes. And then it will, in a total of, when you play it out for 8 counts, it does that nice little pretty thing where that last attack is right on the end of 4, and it's setting up for the next one. And so it's going to sound like it's going to roll in. Chop, 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 chop. So now we're creating, so now we're just creating the simplest of drive. So I say I don't like using samples, right? So you're right, I don't. So this is where I'm gonna have some fun parallel compressing and using trash. So I will just loop this. Cool. First things first, I'm going to, alright, so here's our wood stick, here's it firing off right here. So that impact right at the beginning is a little harsh for me, but I also think the frequency is the pitch is a little off, so I'm gonna, there we go, that's got a nice, so I'll put a filter on it too. So having it sit right over 1,000 is always good. 1,000's always a good like splitting point for me. So this is going to be sitting around like where my snare is too. Oh man, that's just, so you can get it really fancy here if you want. I'm gonna, since I have this filter on here, I'm gonna put a resonator on it. The attack's a little hard for me, so I'm gonna do a fade in. So that's nice and subtle, I think. We can turn it. I feel like let's do we'll do a random pan. I'm gonna do it 33%. Can you think of why I'm gonna do 33%? I don't know why, to be honest. Actually, I'm thinking triplets, so I'm thinking threes. So having it pan, I don't know, that's how my brain works for some reason. It's those little things. I'm like, I feel like that's a good idea. Do a random pan on it. We can change the pitch on it too if we want to. So it's basically going to go up. So that's where we're getting the two tones from now. It's going up two transposes, and then it's then dropping all the way back down. So it's actually dropping down below. It's actually probably now right? Wouldn't that make sense? Isn't it right where it was when we started? So I could do. There we go. I like that. Nice and subtle. Alright. Cool. Now I'm going to go in there and I'm going to change the... So you can do this a bunch of different ways. Some people just throw like a MIDI expression effect on it. Again, like, I was a drummer. I could do it with my hands eventually. That's my plan, is to be able to just drum everything out. But the reason I got into DJing actually was because I have tendonitis in my arms, and so I couldn't play drums anymore. The reason I got into playing drums was because I couldn't play baseball anymore. So I was like, yeah. So I've been into music since I was 15. I'm 32 now, but I haven't really given it this much effort. All right, so I was talking about velocity. So we're gonna just draw in some velocity and some expression here. So all this stuff you can do, like, you can envelope this in, so you can basically, if you want, you can do this little cool thing. So this is your envelopes and your automation. And you can manually set, like, add in a mixer. So right here, just add in jack volume, and you can adjust the levels if you want and manually do that. I feel like it's best to do it as far into the source as you can. So, like, again, what am I doing? Alright, cool. So I'm going to just add all these. Nope. So I'm gonna have I'm gonna have basically the accents really pop on that, and then I'm just gonna do this, highlight it all, and then Control D to duplicate it across. So that's gonna duplicate that velocity over there too, and those changes. So now it's gonna be punchy. So I might not change that actually. So I'm actually gonna leave it like that, so it's not so no, it's oh, what's the term? I can't fucking think right now. I'm not going to change the expression when we get back to the triplets right here. By doing that, it kind of increases the drive going into the next 8 bars, right? Cool. Alright, so, and we're like, wait, I thought we were making bass house, not that. Well, we are. Like that's remember like the only thing I was adding in was over 1,000. Like I knew it was gonna be over 1,000 in EQ. So I didn't bother having anything else loop with that. Like we'll throw this in there actually, just to be sure. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Alright, so anyways, what I was saying was, is the reason, the reason I didn't bother putting with the bass in that is because it's not a competing, the sounds aren't competing with each other, so you could solo it out, you can do it however you want. Again, workflow is everything, finding your workflow is everything. Mine's obviously, like, mine's pretty sporadic, and then somehow everything just comes together really quickly, and so that's why I'm going to start just recording these and just seeing what happens. And whoever wants to watch and follow along, ask questions, learn with me, like let's do it. Let's go. All right. Cool. So I'm just gonna consolidate. So that's everything. That's with the wood blocks, and that's how many bars is that? Yeah. So that's 16 bars. So yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. So I'm going to rename this just so I know that this has wood. Has wood. Block. So I know it has the wood block on there. So now we have our drop. I'm liking this. I'll turn off my mic now. Yeah. Maybe that's my mic. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I should probably. Cool. All right, so yeah, I like it. I don't like the woodblock. I think the woodblock adds a. I need to. I'm. Oh my god, that's annoying. I'm listening to the stream like on my phone, and it's really interesting because the sound quality is different, obviously. So I recommend everyone get, if you're new, get really good monitors. I'm using some ones that I got off Pioneer. They're like 150 for two tops. Um, I don't know the model of them, but they work okay. I would recommend just using like get some good headphones until you can get like decent monitors. Um, so yeah. So anyways, the woodblock's all right. I don't like. It adds too much chaos in certain points, so we're gonna listen to it again. Check. Cool. I'm trying to get my mic situated. Sorry. Again, I'm using. My monitors are pretty loud, so. Testing. Alright. Yeah. Cool, there we go. Alright, so sorry, you never have to hear that again. We just get lovely hi-hats. In wood. So yes, those are good. I like those. Those again the dotted eights complement really well. These do not. So we're gonna leave them. That's all we're gonna do with it. Is those those just fit really well. Um, and like so we know rhythmically they fit really well too. So like one thing you can do is like with workflow making your process like so once I'm done with this I'm gonna export I can export all these MIDI clips and like I have then I can use all of these different layers but change out the samples that go with them to whatever I want them to be and constantly just have different groups and stuff made up. So that's why it's like it is really important to just be really thorough with everything you're doing. Sure, you could just get a sequencer and throw it on there if you want, but I don't know what's the fun in that. So we like the. Yeah, I really like those, but I don't like these. So I actually like the. So I'll get rid of all these. So you could put it down like it's interesting. One thing I noticed like I always forget my like to do is put it I mean you could put a down note if you want, but I don't know. I like leaving most of my stuff open. That's how it all kind of rolls. Alright, I did like that. Bop. We'll stop it right on 4. So let's add a. No, see, I don't want a hi-hat. We're gonna add a rim shot right there. Bop. I like that. I can add some. I just need to add some power to it. Yeah, that's good. Right there. Blop. But we're gonna make it loud. Blop. Blop. So I can go. I can get rid of everything on there if I wanted to. Get rid of the kick on that. So just empty, except for that. Blop. Because there's also a snare note there too. See, that had a good feel. We'll throw a clap in there too. Give it some more pizzang. Not that much. So yeah, samples. I like. I have some that I got off Splice. Drezzo, Drezzo's sound is really, I don't know, it's got a really nice fullness to it. And so when I look at samples that I want to get, I think about stuff like that. I think about kind of uniqueness. Um, I really like try to listen to like the quality of it, and I don't know, like just that's just got a really good like pop to it. You know what I mean? It's Yeah, this is beautiful. So that is gonna go perfect with our shut the blat. All right, right here. Flout. So one thing like I noticed, so his claps, or at least like you check your samples. Um, so like the timing of it, the sample actually started all the way back here. So that's due to like when he exported it. It's because generally like yeah, your claps are gonna, when you have everything compressed and when you're mixing, you should be sitting a little bit on the backbeat. That's what's causing that nice little groove. Um, for the longest time, I used to think that was something that was manually put in. I do know you can like, I've messed around with putting things just milliseconds back, and I've played around with it, but I feel like if you're good with your compression, you'll get that naturally. So again, everyone does it different, and I haven't watched a lot of videos, and again, I want to just talk to new artists and figure out what was the old way. Like I could do my research, sure, but now I'm actually somewhat proficient at being able to put something that I have in my mind and putting it out, like, and making something. So when I have that drive and that creativity, I got to do that, and spend the time learning on my own. Um, so again, the blah. Yeah, see that had a really nice pop to it. Um, and now you'll notice, so like those notes actually awkwardly start on that. Here, I'll get rid of. So the wood sticks start on the four of the count before, and you naturally kind of want them to fall in the one. But it's those little things that allow me to later on, I can put it back. You know what I mean? Um, that's what being a that's the fun part about being a drummer. And then I'm a nerd, and for some reason love graphs and Excel and stuff like that. So I being able to see it like this is it's a lot of fun. It makes sense to me. For growing up and learning how they taught me in school how to learn music, it didn't make sense to me. I learned in drumline. I was a world class percussionist, and I didn't know how to read music until I think like the year I graduated. I kind of figured it out, and I learned pretty much just from watching. And all of my skills in this come from just listening mainly, because I haven't really put any of it to use up until this last like 6 months, and that's where we're at now. So if you go listen back to the tracks I was making 6 months ago to what we're making now, like you can hear what the dedication and the time really does. I have had a lot of time on my hands though, obviously. Yeah, that's beautiful. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna delete the rest of the wood stickies that was in that track, because I consolidated this whole thing. I don't know why I did that, but I did. And what I'm going to do is just take, see, it counts of 8 again, so 8 bars, and I highlighted it, and I'm just going to Control D, and I'm just going to duplicate it across. And the reason I did that is because I have this still just called woodblock, so if I want to mess with the time signatures and where those lie and whatever, I can do that later, but exporting this and using it for other things is also like my plan after this. I want to keep building with each stream, so I can reference and be like, oh yeah, you remember when I did that, and be able to pull that clip and be like, oh well, this is what we're using this for. Because eventually the music should start kind of creating itself. Like, these DAWs are so powerful and these tools are so powerful. You know, it's work smart, not hard. But I do believe that understanding sound design from the very beginning is a must. Otherwise, you're just gonna sound like everybody else, because you're just using everyone else's samples, and B, it's all gonna sound really muddy and it's not gonna be copacetic. All right. So we haven't really done much. I haven't really been very productive. I'm gonna step back, listen to this. I'm right here. I'm not gonna go anywhere, but. And then we're going to add, the next thing I want to add is, of course we need risers. There's like a bunch we can add. Let's get some samples in. I downloaded some acapellas from ZipDJ. So when this is over, we'll sample some acapellas and we'll figure it out. We'll have some fun. All right, good shit. Hey, so one thing that I haven't done, which is really stupid, is this cool thing right here. It's called saving. Yeah, so I probably should have done that, but so I just did it, so that's cool. Um, in the meantime, I need to go make food. I just got like really like lightheaded, so I'm gonna take a little break. Gonna go eat something. I'm going to play. Oh, let's see. Oh, I have so much stuff that I've been playing or making. Yeah. All right. So I made this today, by the way, or for today, um, for my girlfriend. So this, not this next song. I didn't. It's an edit from um, Tie Dye Kai and his song "Never Cage a Butterfly." It's good shit. Check it out. I don't. I think this is. Yeah. I haven't really. I kept it really simple. But anyways, enjoy. Alrighty, folks. Well, signs be told when I'm looking at my computer right there. See this right here. It's been doing that. I'm just running on a laptop. Yeah, it's running pretty hot. I'm gonna just completely log off, take a break, maybe for the night. But be sure to like, follow if you know anybody that's interested in learning EDM or learning how to produce or learning anything that I'm doing. I'm gonna get into visuals later. I'm gonna like start gaming with you guys. Holding like tournaments. I'm gonna have the like basically visuals from. I have a lot planned. It's not just being a EDM DJ. The whole video games, all that's gonna get incorporated. I'm probably gonna get like sued from like um, Namco or whatever for the Pac-Man logo here soon. I don't know, or not the Pac-Man logo, but the Ghost. So who knows? I may need to rebrand. I don't know, man. I'm just fucking winging it. So whoever's along for the ride, thank you so much. Like, follow, share. I will be back. And yes, this is a pretty cool track. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it a banger for sure. Thank you.